Blackstone, the half-sibling of BlackRock, has finally closed a deal with Infocom, a Japanese services company, after first announcing the possibility back at the end of May. This investment landed them a 55.1% stake in the Teijin Limited-owned subsidiary, and, more pertinent to us, a majority stake in Manga Comics, Infocom's e-comic golden goose. Manga Comics is currently among Japan's top e-comic websites, performing extremely well financially, and with one of the most reputable user experiences in its niche. According to an article from April of 2023, digital manga now account for over 66.2% of manga sales in Japan alone, though this number is hard to substantiate due to the lack of single sales reports for ebooks in Japan. If we assume off of the numbers though that we have, a major investor, Blackstone, just took a 55.1% stake in a company that contributes a significant, albeit the percentile unknown, portion of sales worth 66.2% of a market for manga as a whole that is valued as of last year at $4 billion in Japan sales alone, according to Statista, which I know can be incorrect. That is an incredibly wise investment decision on paper, especially considering the global manga market's exponential growth in recent years as well, a $55 billion market. However smart or stupid this decision isn't really the concern, nor am I even going to get into how sketchy of a firm that Blackstone is. I'm simply going to look at this through a business and culture lens. So we're going to weigh some simple pros and cons, with the list of pros and cons taken from an article regarding small businesses taking on investors. And yes, I realize none of the companies here are actually small businesses, but bear in mind that the pros and cons of investment really don't change much between small and large businesses. For the pros, we have cash flow. Capital is necessary to any business, and this is not rocket science, nor does it require a degree in business. Simple logic here. For Infocom, whose shares this year increased by 96% to put the value of the company at $1.8 billion, having an offer come in on the table for $1.7 million, which is essentially 94% of your company's total worth, in order to take a little over half of a stake in it, 55.1%, it's not really a difficult business decision to comprehend. The other pro we have is expertise and connection. While expertise might not be as big of a factor in a larger established business investment, connections certainly are, especially multinationally. Gaining a foothold in America, who recently counted manga sales as over 54% of all comic sales, is a wise decision. And if you add to that distribution lines and all the other relationships a company like Blackstone, who manages over $1 trillion in assets, can offer, and again, this is just kind of a simple no-brainer. The major con, and the only one I'm going to talk about, is less control. And of course, as I mentioned, this is the major point of concern for me and many other anime and manga fans. Like it or not, if someone invests in your company, especially as a majority, over 50%, they will have a massive amount of say and sway in what you do and how you do it, even in your own country. Ultimately, it is a business and they want to make money, even if it means sacrificing the integrity, culture, and/or values of the underlying components. I'm not going to go tinfoil hat here. I'm going to speak from a strictly logical standpoint that it brings two major points of concern to my mind. First, this could be the foot in the door for foreign investors to start taking majority stakes in many aspects of the anime and manga industries that could eventually lead to a pollution/corruption of something that was artistic and make it strictly business. Now, technically, this has already been happening already in Japan, as the industrialization alone of anime and manga has caused it to somewhat cannibalize itself in pursuit of profitability, but my concern is that increased foreign investment could financially stabilize it for a time, but ultimately cause its downfall quicker artistically. This doesn't mean that this is the first major foreign investment in anime and manga industries. This was just one that was so big and from such a major player, Blackstone, $1 trillion asset management company, that is why it is on everyone's radar. Secondly, this causes concerns culturally, and yes, the white male colonizer American is talking about cultural dilution in a country that is not his own, and yes, the white male colonizer American did just make a straw man argument to try to dissuade some people. But speaking genuinely, We have not only seen in my generation's lifetime, but also historically, what happens when culturally significant practices, especially art, become adapted, perverted, diffused, overtaken, diluted, or any other synonym you want to use. Now don't hear what I'm not saying. I am not an anime elitist. I do not fall into the camp that a lot of fans do, where the recent mainstream nature of anime has come to fruition and they think that it is bad. It has naturally progressed, in my opinion, albeit quicker than most, mostly due to the pandemic, and it has had many great effects and many terrible effects on the industry. However, direct investments in this way that they have over the product put out have the potential to culturally undermine any industry, and my concern is that with continued foreign investment, distinctly countercultural ideals will be artificially injected into manga and anime in order to meet foreign ideals. We have recently seen this a lot in video games, where there are multitudinous hoops that developers and publishers have to jump through in order to get through various international censorship laws, and we also have seen it recently in the anime and manga industries, where third-party translators were intentionally mistranslating source material in order to fit current agenda in their own countries. To bring this around, less control means less control, period. If control continues to be sold off to big investors, then my concerns are that anime and manga will fall apart either due to over-industrialization or a negative cultural assimilation, and I could not tell you which one would come first. Overall, everything that I am saying comes from an admittedly pessimistic outlook. It is so early in this deal that no details on investor plans are readily available, and everything I just said could go down as the knee-jerk ramblings of a manga fan with admittedly too much time on his hands. However, I hope that at least the objective nature of the beginning helped y'all understand the significance of this. Please leave comments, helpful or hurtful. I'm not an expert in any of this stuff, and I often speak from a place of emotion, so I am open to discussion, and will be swift to correct anything that I misstated that was factual in nature. If you enjoyed this though, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Usually nowadays I just do the news, and so this is kind of out of character for me. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.